Just days after U.S. President Donald Trump visited Beijing, Russia's Vladimir Putin is visiting China. Putin and China's leader Xi Jinping signed more than 20 agreements related to trade and tech, as well as a joint statement on strategic cooperation. They also plan a major pipeline to take Russian gas to China. It's a project that would reduce Beijing's reliance on the Middle East. CBC's Chris Brown has been watching today's events unfold from London. Chris, good to have you. So let's first talk about sort of the key messaging that's going to come out of this summit.
Well, not just with Vladimir Putin's visit, but Donald Trump's visit last week. Before him, Mark Carney, Keir Starmer from the UK, the German Chancellor. All of that is demonstrating, I think, that China is now at the epicenter of global politics. And from President Xi's point of view, playing an important role as a stabilizer of the world. He's demonstrating that he is the leader that other world leaders are coming to see. With this particular visit, Russia is very much the weaker partner. Without China's electronics, without its components that Russia needs to build drones and missiles, and without China buying all of Russia's energy, well, Vladimir Putin would be in extremely dire straits. Putin has spoken for decades about the emergence of this multipolar world. He's talked about it all the time, something to counter the political force of the West and of the United States. And a lot of the time, it sounded a lot like wishful thinking, but it's getting perhaps to be less and less so. However, like Donald Trump, Putin is leaving Beijing, it appears, really without a whole lot of substantive deals or major announcements to show for it. You mentioned that pipeline. Well, they've been talking about a pipeline from Siberia to China for decades, really. This time they signed a document, but it's still not clear. They're really a whole lot closer to deciding how much China's going to pay, how much it's going to buy, and particularly what the cost is going to be. Vladimir Putin, well, he's had some very difficult months. He is still Russia's strongman, but he's a weaker strongman than he was. The war in Ukraine has not been going well. They had to tone down Victory Day because of the fear of Ukrainian drone strikes. So this visit may help him restore something of an aura of an important global leader.
Yeah, they've talked about that friendship between China and Russia being, a very, very solid one, an important friendship indeed. But I want to sort of focus a little bit more on China, positioning itself as the world's top power broker, of course, after these recent meetings, as you point out, with the United States and now Russia. Talk to me more about China's position in all of this.
Well, you should look at the joint statement. This was put out between Russia and China. It referred to treacherous military strikes against other countries. Now, that is a clear discussion about the United States and its war against Iran, a fairly obvious reference there, saying that they violate the principles of the UN Charter. Again, this is more Chinese positioning that China and Russia care more about international law and order and stability than the United States does. We did see President Xi almost lecturing Donald Trump during his visit there over Taiwan, drawing red lines on issues such as American arms sales to the island. There were no such obvious warnings to Vladimir Putin. Nonetheless, I still think it's a difficult balancing act for China. Its economy is underperforming. It needs global export markets, including those key American ones. So in spite of all of the optics, President Xi really did seem to be careful not to give Vladimir Putin too much and perhaps trigger some other new fight with Donald Trump.
We'll be watching any further developments closely. Chris, thank you so much for this. It's CBC's Chris Brown for us in London.